Hello, this is Chodaros Designs, and today we have a pretty cool blinged out bracelet by Suzanne HB, also known as Crazy Just Might Work on Instagram. So she was playing around with some jump rings and came up with this awesome design. And she did mention that she believes it does resemble her, I think it's called the Lush Foliage, that we did a long time back, one of her designs, and it's actually one of the first designs that I incorporated jump rings into. But what's great about this one is that all the jump rings kind of sit on the front, and then you have your stitch that goes on your wrist in the back, so it will sit like that. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough jump rings to finish, but I really do like this size. These are about 6mm jump rings. Now I did want to show you what I was doing was I kind of tugged on it because I used the Rainbow Loom, the silver bands. I'm trying to think what they're called, but which they do have some elasticity to them. I wanted to show you what happened when I did stretch it. One thing you want to watch out for is you want to make sure that your jump rings are completely closed. This one here, zoom in a bit, is a little bit open, and once you stretch your bands do thin out, and once I did that, one of the bands did come out of that jump ring. So either don't stretch it, but one thing, like I say, I highly suggest is if you're using split rings, jump rings that do have the opening, make sure that they are closed so that doesn't happen to you. So another one, the one I made the full wrap, I used these large jewelry beads. So these are the beads that I used, and I am almost positive that my wonderful dear friend Margot, MS Loom, had sent them to me last year. So they have a little bit of a flower design to them. They also have a hole through them so they can be beaded, so they are considered a large hole bead. So using them, it kind of came out as like a bangle, and all of my bands kind of fall to one side of that bead, but I absolutely love how that came out. Very pretty. So today what I'm going to use for the tutorial is going to be 10mm jump rings. Okay, and the reason I want to use 10mm is, one, it's kind of going to look like this, so you're going to have a space on both sides of your band, as opposed to this one where it's kind of, you don't have that space because the jump rings are smaller. But just for the tutorial purpose, I wanted to use the large ones so you can have an idea and kind of see what we're doing here. So if you use the, I think it's 6mm and above rings, they will always fit on your loom hook. So here's a little tray that I have of some different jump rings and just jewelry rings. So you can see that's a 6mm, it fits on my hook. This one is a thicker one and it does not. So if you happen to have smaller ones or want to use smaller ones, just grab a crochet hook. I think about 3mm, 5mm hook, and you can do this design like that. But you also have to make sure that, what you'll see when we get started, you have to have enough room to put this back on your hook with a band through it. So you have to have a good amount of space left on there when it's on your hook. Okay, so I'm going to use the silver again, metallic silver, that's what it is. So you want to grab your supplies and get started. This is the Rainbow Loom prototype hook that I've been using in all of my tutorials that are hook only. It will be out in stores soon, I just found out. So excited. But see, you want to use a hook that's got a big divot in there, for the fact that when you pull your band over the top of the hook, it's tight. So for this design, and I'm using the large jump rings, I can use my Rainbow Loom hook, which is great because I need that part there. Alrighty, so let's get started. So we just want to start out with a cap band, as we normally do. and we want to grab our first jump ring and just put it on our hook. So what this step is going to resemble is Suzanne's leaf stitch that she created with the lush foliage or the leaf foliage bracelet. And just to show you quickly what that step is, it's the one where we do the weaving, where we would take 2 bands and like I would go under, over, under, under, over, under, over, under, and weave it through, and then I would take that back band and pull it. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing, but we're doing it with the jump ring. So when we do this, this band that we have hanging down is will be the jump ring. So that's what we're kind of just mimicking here. All right, so once we have our jump ring on our hook and our cap band, we want to grab a new band, and we just want to pull that jump ring over the new band, slide it down a bit, and then close it up. Hold that, and then grab your jump ring with your opposite hand. So we want to pull that over so it goes into our hook part, and then we just want to simply, for this step, slide this cap band over the top. I'm going to pull it down a tad. So now you can see our cap band is on top. We have 2 loops on our hook, and our next step is to just simply put that jump ring in our hand, back up on our hook like that. So now you have your cap band hanging down, and it should look like that. So every time you have your jump ring on your hook, that's your indicator that we need to add our second or our next jump ring in sequence. So that's the only step that we need to do. We're just going to repeat it. So we add that band, pull that jump ring over, slide it down a bit, and then close it up. Once you close it up, grab on to that jump ring, pull those 2 loops under your hook, and now we want to pull everything on our hook on top. So there goes that first jump ring, and then you might have to kind of turn your hook a bit to get it underneath these 2 loops because they are a little bit snug. So I'm going to turn it just to get it underneath, but I have to make sure I remember to turn it back upright because I don't want my bands to get twisted. And then just simply put that jump ring back up on your hook. That's it. That's the whole bracelet. That's all we're going to be doing. So again, once we have that jump ring up here, we add our next one, and we grab our band, add that jump ring onto the band, and close it up. Come down, grab that jump ring, and kind of pull a bit so we can have a good snug loop underneath our hook, and then pull that next jump ring over, and then, like I said, a little bit of a twist to get it underneath those 2 loops, turn it back upright, and then jump ring goes back on. That's it. It's very, very simple, and it comes out very, very pretty. So again, whatever you have on your hook stays in the back, and then we just work through this new ring. So we're pulling that over and closing it up. Grab that jump ring, hold that in place, and pull everything on your hook over on top, and then put the next jump ring on top. So I think the big one that I did, I used 31 jump rings. So I'm going to see if 31 will work even though these are smaller rings. So you do need a good amount of jump rings. So that's it. And then pull everything on your hook on top. So simple, and it comes out very pretty. So really not much to it, so my tutorial is not too long for you. The reason I suggested using a deep hook is because when we do have to turn it to go underneath, we don't want those bands to slip off. I think I made the whole bracelet in 10 minutes because once you get the concept down, which is super easy, you can really run through this. So I'm gonna speed this up a little bit to show you how easy it can be. But again, make sure that your jump rings are closed because these bands will 100% slip through there. So many options, so many different possibilities that you can do. One thing, you can add beads to these jump rings. These ones are a little bit thick, so you'd have to have a large hole type of a bead, but you could put 2 beads and have a bead hanging on both sides. I think that would be very pretty. You could even put dangles. If you had dangles, you could even use, you know, where you would open it up and just add it when the bracelet's finished. You could add a couple little dangles hanging down here and there. But it's a nice tight stitch, and it'll curl up just like it will whenever, like this one here. This is automatically just curled up like that as I was looming it. So I'll do a couple more with you, and then I think you guys will get the picture here. So again, when that jump ring is on your hook, you add your next, and then our next step is only going through that jump ring closest to your hook, and we add that band like that, and then pulling it through everything. Super simple and can be elegant or fun. There's so many different possibilities. Very pretty. You just have to kind of watch. I did try to do one with the limited edition bands, and because they're slippy, I call it slippy, they did want to move around. So the different bands are going to show a little bit of a different effect. You might have to move your jump rings around a bit, but it definitely is a design that you can use any type of band with, which is really cool. Not very often that we can use all of our bands, so opaques will work just fabulous with it. See, it doesn't take much. Like that. And then to close it up, zoom you out. So I'm just going to stop there. And to close it up, you want to stop at this point where you have your last jump ring and your 2 loops. And you just want to simply pull a band through all of it. And put it back on your hook. And then this is the time where you will add your C-clip. And then you already have your cap band down here at the end, and you will C-clip it together. And that's what you should have, just a nice loop with these 2 band loops on the center, and then you have that nice fishtail stitch down the back. So dare to jump. I'm just going to slip knot that. And as I mentioned, you see it will curl up. Pretty neat. Love it. And like I said, this is my favorite, my finished one. Beads are super thick, so it kind of lays like a bangle. And you can see that stitch nice on the inside. So big shout out to Suzanne. Thank you for letting me do the tutorial. Love it. I hope you guys had fun making it. Please make sure that you do hashtag your renditions to Suzanne HB or Crazy Just My Work on Instagram, or myself, Chodaros_Bling. We'd love to see your renditions and what you come up with. Thanks again for joining me for another tutorial, and stay tuned. We have lots more coming this time. Thanks guys. Bye.